I think you're under the impression that this operation is bigger than it actually is.
The makeup artist was late again.
That's right.
So we are going to have to sit her down.
Murder, and you're watching Roller Skate Stories.
Holy moly.
Okay, you gotta get serious.
I'm almost
Are you
there.
ready? All right. Another quality trivia question, okay? And I think I've got the answer this time. Actually, there's multiple answers.
I think I'm gonna laugh anyway.
You probably will. All right, so can you name, I'll bet you can name at least one. Can you name 3 movies about roller skating? 3 movies about roller skating. You can't name one?
Wait, I don't know why Blaze of Glory came to my mind.
It's not on the list.
No, okay, so for sure, let's get Roll Bounce out the way.
There you go.
ATL
So I knew you'd
out
get
the
that
way.
one. Okay.
And that's roller skating.
We're talking about roller skating, yeah.
I mean, no, I'm sorry, that's skateboarding.
Okay.
Press for the third one, sorry.
All right. So another one is Xanadu, and another one is called Whip It. I haven't ever heard of that one.
If I phone a friend, I'll call Desi and see what project she was on. Because those don't
Well, she told us about another one.
Correct.
Remember that one? I can't quite remember.
Have
It was
the
like
picture. I'm going
it's
to
like
cheat.
8. It was like wheel 8 or something.
cheat.
8 wheels or something.
3, 2, 1. 8 wheels.
Yeah, see, I was right. I knew it was 8 something.
I got 3.
8 wheels. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, so that we know that because we interviewed Desi Crawl, and she's
legendary.
a wealth of knowledge.
Sheesh.
In fact, let's just hear her interview right now. Here's Desi Crawl. All right, we are here with another edition of Roller Skate Stories, and Marcus, you and I
Yes.
hit gold, right? Because
Yes.
we interview roller skaters.
Yes.
Not only do we have a great roller skater,
Yes.
but we have like someone who knows literally everything there is
Great
to know
build-up.
about roller
Yes.
skating and roller skate history. And I think specifically black roller skating in America, the history of. So this is an honor. We have Desi Crawl with us today. So thank you, Desi, for coming in. We really appreciate your time. And look at all of this
Legendary.
this paraphernalia that you brought with you.
This is my story for 23 years, or
That's amazing.
the 23 years of my story.
Wow.
But I've been skating since I was 3 years old, so it
Okay.
goes further back.
So where did you start skating?
So I'm originally from Ohio.
Okay.
So I'm a Buckeye.
Big O.
So
Yeah.
that's what the O's are. Had to represent. Okay, so like my shirt says, I may live in Arizona, but Ohio State is my team. So
I feel that way about the Broncos, but I'm probably the only one here. So.
yeah, I have to say something about that later off camera.
Okay.
But nothing bad.
It's a
Good.
privilege to
Good.
have you on Roller Skate Stories.
Thank you.
Let's
Thank you.
go.
So basically, I started skating when I was 3, and this is I'm going to make this sort of like a PSA because you know how it is a rule to not carry a child on your hip when you're skating?
Yeah.
Okay, I am a living example. My sister did that with me in the basement. She fell, I hit my head on the cement floor, and I've been skating ever since.
Wow. So instead of traumatizing you and making you afraid of skating, it just
Like, wow, I got to do that.
it was like the Spider-Man bite or something. You got the roller skate bite.
Yes,
That's crazy.
yes.
Superpower.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cement superpower.
Yes.
Wow.
And so that went on through my childhood years. And you know how we used to have childhood skate parties? So our school took us to a skate party when I was in like the 5th
Which
grade.
rink would you name?
Oh, this was in Ohio. This was in
like
Ohio.
Columbus or
This was Dayton,
Cleveland? Oh,
Ohio.
Dayton, okay.
It was Vandalia, Skateland and Vandalia.
Okay.
And Skate World, Skate World Vandalia. And so we had a school party there, and I don't know if you guys remember the movie Love and Basketball.
Yes.
I had a Love and Basketball moment there. You remember how when they were kids and he asked her to be his girlfriend, and then they got in a fight in like 5 minutes, they were broke up? That happened to me at the rink. Okay? So a young man asked me to be his girlfriend, and I said yes, and he got all happy about it. He went and told his boys out on the rink. He skated around like twice, came back and broke up with me because his boys said my hair was too short.
Oh man! Wow.
So you started a fight.
So no, I didn't start a fight. But that was the shortest relationship I ever had.
Wow.
1 minute and 30 seconds.
So you've had a lot of trauma at the rink, even at what age
that was like the 5th grade. Before I was 10.
Wow. That's insane.
So- Basically, I continued to skate, but then in the 80s, you know, skating kind of died out a little bit because rinks were closing and things like that. So after that, that was in grade school. But we had a rink that opened up. It's now Salvation Army. It's called Roller World Bus Stop. This rink was so cool. The floor was huge. It was wood, but it was a building that was broken up into 2 sections. So you can skate on one side, okay? But you can take off your skates, put them in a locker, and go get your disco shoes and dance in the discotheque. And the discotheque had, the DJ booth was a real school bus. It was a school bus. He sat in the driver's seat and played from there, and the rest of the school bus went through the wall of the entire building, and it was in the parking lot. So that was one of the places we used to skate.
Wow.
It was in Miamisburg, Centerville, Ohio. But it's closed now, just like some
Yeah,
rinks. But that was
that's a shame.
growing up in high
Parking lot
school.
was enclosed?
No, the parking lot, just a regular parking lot, just like here. But the bus started inside the building and ended outside the building.
Wow, that's a nice transition to get outside.
Yeah, so good ideas. I hope somebody brings that back because it
Yeah.
was so cool. But that's the rink we kind of grew up in, and then we had one downtown Dayton, of course. It was called Skateland as well, Skateland
Really?
downtown. Yeah, but that rink was a little different because I think it was an old printing press building, so we had to go upstairs to get into the rink, and it had the stanchions in the middle of the floor. I mean, not the stanchions, but the building supports.
Right.
In the middle of the floor,
So you
and
gotta
that's
be careful where you skate.
well, not only that, but when they turned off the lights and did the strobe lights, so many people hit those
I'll
things.
bet.
Oh my God.
Did they at least put padding on them?
It was carpeted.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was carpeted.
Yeah.
So those are the rinks I grew up in.
Skate at your own risk.
Skate at your own risk.
So
I'm having a hard time wrapping when you say there was disco and skating. Is it separate or like?
It was like in one building, but you come off the skate floor, put your stuff in a locker, and go around the wall to the disco.
So it was separate. You couldn't disco and skate. You had to.
There was a wall between.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a wall between.
but the very first time you skated, you said you were 3? Was that at a rink?
No, it was in the basement.
In the basement.
In the
Okay.
basement of my home. And my sister's.
And did you just take to it right off the bat?
No,
or-
I don't think I really took to it until I was in grade school.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when, and then I started skating, and my sister stopped. And then I did a little bit in college, and then I went away. But that's where the whole thing like really took a turn, because after I graduated from college, I moved to New Orleans, Louisiana. And there I found a skating rink, and I got into the skate culture there, and I was, skating every Thursday night, and the music was the same that I was listening to it in Dayton and Dayton and Cincinnati, because I used to skate in both. And so I still didn't understand where my life was going to after that until I left New Orleans and moved to the DMV, which that shirt right there represents, and I'll tell you what that story is shortly. But when I moved to the DMV, which is DC, Maryland, Virginia, they just call it the DMV,
Okay.
I started skating there on their adult nights, but it was something different about it. The music was very different. music I had never heard in my life, and I was thinking maybe this was some music that my mom used to listen to, because it was mostly like Barry White and things in that era, you know, Al Jarreau and those type of musicians.
Like a smooth groove.
Yeah, exactly. But that wasn't what I was used to. And so I met a friend and I asked her, I said, okay, I'm listening to music on the radio, but I'm not hearing that in the rink. So where can I go to hear music that I hear in the rink? I mean, on the radio. And she said, Delaware. That was like an hour and a half drive from DC, and we would go up there occasionally, and that's when I heard the music that I was listening to.
So what artists, like top 5 artists, were you listening?
So it's I really can't say what my top 5 artists was, because what I learned in this is that everywhere you go, the music is different.
Okay.
Because of what kind of music came from that area. Because music is usually indigenous to what's there. Like you'll notice if you go to Detroit, you're going to hear Motown most of the time. If you come to Ohio, you're going to hear that funk, Zapp, Roger Troutman, Lakeside, Ohio players, you know. And what do you hear in Chicago?
JB.
There you go. There you go. So it's different everywhere you go. So I just adapted to it. And then that's what made me understand what was going on in DC. It was just a different skate culture. And so there's all these mini pockets of skate cultures all across the country that I had yet to come across and find out about.
So we're talking about the 90s at this point.
No, we are leaving the 90s. Well, that was happening in the 90s, but I jumped into this late 90s, early 2000s. Okay. Late 90s, early 2000s. Okay. So when I went to my first national skate party. So basically a national skate party, the way it's loosely defined is someone coordinates a skate event for the weekend, and it usually involves a host hotel where you might spend a night Friday night and Saturday night, and there's events on Friday, Saturday, and maybe like a leaving town Sunday event. Okay. So that's what basically defines a national skate party. So I went to my first one, which was in St. Louis, and back then there was pretty much only like 4 major skate parties. It started with a woman named Vanessa Poindexter in Chicago. I don't know if you've ever met her, but she's you've heard about Vanessa
Definitely.
Poindexter. Okay, and then there was some in Detroit, and then there was one in St. Louis, and then Atlanta. I'm quite sure you've heard of Skate-a-thon. Okay, so with that said, I went to my first one, which was in St. Louis. So I have to give St. Louis the credit, STL. It was hosted by Skills on Wheels. And I just saw that all of these people were there with different styles of skating based on where they were from. Yes. Okay? And so later at the end of the year, I was like, okay, if I was looking for a place to skate, to hear, or you know, have my style of skating expressed, then maybe other people are too. And so that's when I built Skategroove.com.
Wow. Okay.
So what I wanted to do was just have a directory of where people could go to skate, adults aged 18 to 88, to, you know, hear the music that they wanted to hear at the rinks that they wanted to go to. So that's basically how it came about, until I started traveling and going to these skate parties, and I started talking to the coordinator, say, hey, you know, I'm watching them. They would have, and back then, these are a little younger, but back then they would have the 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper where they copied it on the copier at work. But some of them, some of them, I'm not gonna name any names, but now they've evolved to flyers like this, but they would be handing out flyers at the door as people came out of every party. They would travel to every party to support each other, just handing out flyers, putting them cars. And then when I told them about the website, like, hey, put your flyer on the website, spread the news about Skategroove.com, and people can come and get all the information about your party at any time they want to. And you can save printing, save some trees, save some postage, save a lot, you know.
And this started in 2000.
And this started in 2000, January 10th, 2000. So,
So
23
at
years.
these various events, were you seeing a lot of the same people coming?
Yes,
Yeah.
people were traveling, and everybody just became family. It became
Yeah.
a community. It got bigger and bigger and bigger, and every time you saw someone, it's just like big hugs and hey, how you doing? And we just became a family. And I'm talking about it's grown significantly, but back then it was probably a few thousand of us.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
So
what stands out? What trips that you took at that time stands out for you?
okay, so my most memorable trip is one for an event that I hosted, or I co-hosted with Nikki Bowens and Gary Corporal in Delaware. Nikki's in DC, and it was called the Adrenaline Awards.
Is this your first event that you hosted?
This was the second event I hosted. We did one with the Kansas City Roll Patrol, because there's skate clubs all over the place. But we did one with the Kansas City Roll Patrol. We hosted it down in New Orleans. We called it Rolling on the Bayou. So we did that for 2 years. The first year we had entertainer Adina Howard. She played for us, and she skated a little bit too.
She skates?
But well, she doesn't skate, but we got her on skates. Okay, so yeah, we got her on skates. But the Adrenaline Awards, it was more like the Grammys for roller skaters. So what we did was we came up with these categories: best male, best female, favorite couple, favorite duo, favorite trio, favorite train, favorite rink, favorite song, favorite skate club, everything. And people all over the country would vote, and then they would come to Delaware to this event. It would be a sit down dinner on Friday night when we handed out the awards, and then on Saturday and Sunday we skated. But
Would they vote through your website?
They vote through the website and by
Okay.
email. So back then, this is when the internet was first coming up.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more sophisticated ways of doing it now. But what was so significant about Adrenaline 2003 is that we had to cancel the skating event right in the middle of the night because a blizzard came through. Okay, so people were rushing to get back home, and back then we were doing a lot of driving more than flying. So we had people, we was like, you guys gotta go, and about 12 or 13 of us got stuck. So I wasn't leaving because I was, one of the hosts. What we ended up, the hotel that we were staying in, they ran out of food, so we were like, what are we gonna do? So G-Man, Gary Corporal, said, hey, why don't you guys come and spend the night at the rink? We spent the night at the roller rink for 5 nights. Okay.
Wow.
He had a bathroom, that's where we washed and everything, but he had plenty of food because we had a big buffet during this event where we had collard greens, macaroni and cheese, and turkey legs, and all of that. But his snack bar had, more than just a typical pizza. Gary was a caterer, so he liked to cook. Okay. So we had food to last us through the week, but he let us raid the candy counter. We played video games all night. We skated in our pajamas. One of us was the DJ. We skated all night, and we slept on the mushrooms until we could get our flights out.
Is that a thing? Can you do that?
We did it. We did it.
I feel like that should be an experience. That should be like a summer camp thing.
It can be. It can be. That could easily be recreated.
That's a magical experience.
I can see why that's your most memorable.
I'll never forget it because we were stuck. It was people from St. Louis, Chicago, Kansas City, Atlanta, Philly, and DC, and we were all stuck together, and we just became much more of a family.
Like an experience.
It was. It was. So that was my most memorable skate park.
Okay, so I'm excited. Can we
get to that?
Can we?
Okay.
Because we're in the 2000s.
So what, we're talking about this one, Roll Bounce?
Roll
Oh, no, let's talk to this one because
Okay.
this is the predecessor.
Okay.
Okay.
8 wheels.
8 wheels and some Soul Brother music. Okay.
That's homework.
So yes, that was produced by Mr. Tyrone Dixon. He is now Dr. Dixon. He's a producer. He does a lot of skate videos and things like that. But back then he went to 16 or 17 different cities and he documented the skate styles in each city. Okay? See? Okay, and Chicago is included.
I'm listening.
And so, but it also has a serious tone too because it talks about some of the issues that African Americans have had just being able to skate and not have the door closed in our face saying, oh, this is not your night, this is country music night, all the tricks that were played on us. So so that hits that as well. So after Tyrone went to all these cities and interviewed people and created that DVD, he got in touch with Norman Vance and some of the people that are behind Roll Bounce. So 8 Wheels and Some Soul Brother Music is the predecessor to Roll Bounce.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, and Tyrone was
That
actually...
is a gem right there for everyone that doesn't do their homework. 8 Wheels.
Predecessor to Roll Bounce. And so what Tyrone asked me to do with that was to help with the casting of all the skate extras for the film. So we put out calls and all that stuff, and there was buses and loads of people coming from all over the country to be in this film.
To like audition for it, try out?
Some to audition, yes.
Yeah.
And because a lot of those skaters that were the stars of the show, they actually had skate doubles, of course.
Okay.
Now I can tell you, Marcus Polk, out of all of them, I believe he's the only one that really took on to skating and really developed some skills during that time of filming.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, he was able to spin and do
Is he
all
the
kind
lead?
of stuff. No, he was the one they called, was it Boo? No, the one with the ears. He played Brandy's little brother on Moesha.
Okay.
On Moesha.
Oh.
Yes. Yes, the one with
I
the
know
ears.
exactly.
Yes.
I know exactly
yes.
who you're talking
yes.
about.
So, but yeah, and Bow Wow, of course, he's from my home. You know, he had his Ohio bounce with him and all that stuff. So he was pretty good too. So, but yeah, but so that's the story of what my involvement was with Roll Bounce. But
So people came to where? Where did they come?
Chicago.
To Chicago.
To Chicago. It was
And
filmed
you're
in
there
Chicago.
along with other people.
I was
saying,
there for 1 or 2 things because I really couldn't get off work, but my business partner was there most of the time, so taking care of things. But yeah, so I was there for the filming for like I think 2 days, and she was there a lot of the other days. But it was quite an experience. So it was shot in several different rinks, Fleetwood. I believe the rink on 87th Street, they did something there. And but most of it was at Lynwood roller skating rink, and they actually left the set up. Yeah, I believe it's still up today. It's still to this day. It's still up. Yes.
I have not.
Yes. So so that's the story behind Roll Bounce. Yes. Lots of things.
Okay, I have to go there. Like
you have to go there.
I feel so guilty being from Chicago and never touching that floor.
You need to go.
I went to Glenwood, but
Right.
I've never been to Lynwood.
Okay. You gotta get there.
You got a trip coming
I
up.
need
gotta
footage.
get there.
I
When
need
you go
footage as
home.
well.
When you go home.
So cool.
So after that, we a few years later, we shot a McDonald's commercial in that same rink. So there's 2 reasons to go there.
Wow.
So, and so you'll have to watch that McDonald's.
So did
commercial.
McDonald's just call you up and say,
Yes,
"We
they
need some
did.
skaters"?
They called me and said they need some skaters. They needed somebody to help choreograph. And Bill Butler, I don't know if you guys know him, but Bill Butler is like the godfather of roller disco.
Yes.
He was on the set of all of these projects I'm talking about. Bill Butler is magic. Very influential in the skating community, and he is like an encyclopedia of skate history. I mean, because he's like in his 80s, you know.
So much history.
Yes, he has a lot of history.
Sounds like someone we could talk
So
to.
it's somebody you should talk to. Yes, yes.
So much history.
So that was basically that. But I'd really like to
Talk about the
talk
shirt.
about this shirt.
Yeah.
This shirt is interesting because I want to go back in time a little bit to 2005, because what it is DC, Maryland, Virginia, they decided that they wanted all the skate clubs to get together and go and travel to these events. And in 2005, they all came to Rolling in the Carolinas, because that was at this point, it was a huge party. And so they made this saying, they put this prose on here, and whenever you see something underlined, that is a skate club. And so I'm just going to read a little bit of excerpt from this. It says, "Our Family Skate Association is filled with the universal madness we're known as magnificent rollers, which makes us top notch." And so some of those are skate clubs, right? But what gets me, and I was so touched, it says, "As extreme rollers, we're all connected by Skategroove.com."
There you
I just
go.
thought that was so sweet.
That
I was
is.
just so
That's
touched.
awesome.
Yes, so this shirt right here
Let's
is
hold that up to
history.
the camera real quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's old and tattered because it's from 2005. That's how long I've been wearing it. And they put my name on it, and they put my website on the back, and everything. So
Beautiful.
But I thought that was really cool.
That is nice. Yes.
Just a lot of the local skate clubs in the DC DMV.
History.
Yes, so that's history right there. But one important element that I'm leaving out is how I really catapulted the website is because one day when I started it while I was living in Washington, D.C. And one day I went to the rink and I had a camera and I said, I wonder what people look like or what people think they look like when they're skating. So I started taking pictures.
Okay.
And I told people I want to put these pictures on my website. And that just became so popular. And so I just started taking pictures whenever I traveled, going to these rinks, taking pictures and putting them on the website. So that's what all of these are for, because I was skate media. And taking pictures at different events, including the ones that was here in AZ.
Wow.
So, yes.
Wonderful.
So, yes.
Well, I think we're about to run out of time. Real quickly, how would you define your skate style?
My skate style is now a mismatch of every place that I've ever been. So when I hear certain songs or certain things, it makes me think, oh, that's a Philly song, that's a Delaware song, that's a DC song, and I just get into that mode. But there's some that I haven't mastered anything, but I just go into that mode when I hear different songs. JB, I go JB. The only one I haven't been able to do is Detroit, because that's pretty hard. But yeah. So.
Well, that is awesome. I wish we had another hour. I think we could talk to you for a couple more hours. I got one other question though. What's the story behind these purple skates right here?
These?
I'm gonna have to tell you about this.
Okay.
Like it's a long story.
Is it?
We can do it on the spot.
It's a lot. It's a lot to that. So we're gonna have to actually make more time.
Can I sneak in one more question?
Sure.
So everything sounds like a fairy tale. Like honestly, everything went fantastic for you. Is there any adversity that you wanted to talk about, like a hard time, like a hardship where it was just like, hey, I'm not sure, and then something happened where it's like, okay, this is it, or is it just everything all together?
Actually, I've been blessed.
That's amazing.
I've been blessed. Everything's been good. I have no complaints.
That's a great way to end.
Legendary. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Roller
It's been a real
Skate
pleasure.
Stories, thank you. Arizona, thanks you. The Big O, thanks you. Chicago, thank you. Everywhere you've been, thank you. That's amazing.
A lot.
That is
awesome.
amazing.
This is Gina Green, and you're watching Roller Skate Stories.
How about now? Are you ready now?
No.
Okay. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. 1 second. You're ready.
Same position I was 3 seconds ago.
Well, we're going. That red light is on. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Roller Skate Stories. We just had a great interview
That we did.
with Desi Crawl. She is a wealth of information, and I think we could have spoken with her for another couple of hours and still not gotten everything. But I think we're going to have her back, and we're going to do a part 2. Yes? Does that mean you want to talk?
Yes.
Okay.
What stuck out to me the most is the dance or the skate, like the ball skate with the older, the seniors. That was,
yeah.
That was unique.
And we didn't really talk about
No.
that. We need to talk about
Yes.
that. Yeah, she has this book that features, it was at a certain place, right? But retired
There
people.
is more details to unveil.
Yeah, so I guess I won't give it all away, but it's excellent.
Yes.
But we will have her back and talk with her again. So tune in for that one. But for now, we want to sign off and say thanks again to Larry at Skateland Chandler. Be sure to join us for Turnt Up Tuesdays, 8 to 11 o'clock, featuring
DJ K Hammer, the freshest DJ in Arizona. Don't forget it.
Don't forget it, and we'll see you there
Every Tuesday.
every Tuesday. Be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time on Roller Skate Stories.